Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today I'm back at Mercedes-Benz of Shreveport, and you may have watched my recent video featuring this very 2021 model of the GLA 250. And for those of you who made it far enough into the video, I kind of wonder because only one person said anything about the fact that there wasn't a test drive, even though I did mention there was going to be one in that full video. The reason that there was not one was because I totally goofed and forgot to turn the microphone on. That's the challenge of doing these videos all by myself. Sometimes I miss little things like that. And so I thought about doing a voiceover, but I decided that's just not going to be the same. So today we're going to do an official test drive with this GLA 250 and get it out on the road. That way it's more of a genuine experience, and I can more genuinely tell you about my experiences behind the wheel to help you make a decision on whether or not maybe this is something you want to buy. So let's get behind the steering wheel and take a drive. Okay guys, we're out here on the road for our test drive as promised. And one thing I want to tell you about, I know I mentioned this in my other video, as far as the location of the ignition button, there is no key necessary, of course, not that unusual. But right underneath that is the on-off button for the stop-start feature. So when you come to a complete stop, if you're not familiar with that, the engine will shut down and then it will start back up again when you take off again. And boy, that was really smart. I'm glad I got that on video. But anyway, before I was distracted by that wonderful Shreveport driver right there, here's an interesting thing about that. You've got the ignition button and the start-stop feature button or stop-start feature button, one on top of the other. So if you want to turn the auto stop-start feature off, well, it's very easy to do. You hit the ignition button, and right after that you can reach right underneath that and turn off the auto stop-start feature, which I don't think is going to keep it setting. If you turn it off, I think when you turn the ignition off, it's going to automatically come back on. But just something to think about. Now, as I am accelerating to get around a slower moving vehicle, I'm not really pushing the pedal that hard, and even though this is obviously not a high horsepower model of a Mercedes-Benz, being able to accelerate down the road is definitely not a problem. I've noticed that acceleration is nice and smooth, and the handling is good. You know, this not being a full-size SUV, you're going to have the advantages of a lower center of gravity, and the steering is going to be more responsive, so you won't quite get the body roll you would going into a sharp corner at a higher rate of speed. Not that you necessarily need to do that in the GLA 250, but it's really not too bad. The steering wheel itself is comfortable and nice and responsive to the touch, and I like the fact that the brake pedal is not overly aggressive, but as you press on it, you're going to notice that it's definitely doing its job. The brakes are working, but it's not so sensitive as you might find in some other vehicles that I've shown here on Vehicle Visionary in the past, that it's going to cause you to brake check your passengers. Okay, now that we're a little further down the road, let's do a little acceleration test. This is not the GLC 63 by far, no AMG model, but I'm going to tell you what, if you need to accelerate to get around an 18-wheeler, for example, that I knew was about to change lanes as he just did, it's not a problem. I went from 65 to over 75 miles per hour very quickly. So even though this isn't a large engine in this particular model, the horsepower numbers are not super high, but still, you're not going to have a problem accelerating around slower moving traffic or merging into traffic in a higher speed situation on the interstate or whatever the case may be. And of course, you have the MBUX system, which is really the latest and greatest in technology on really any vehicle right now that Mercedes is offering. And you can talk to Mercedes and do something along these lines. Hey Mercedes,
how can I help?
How much gas do I have left?
You can still drive 70 miles.
And there are multiple commands and questions you can ask to have Mercedes help you out with a multitude of different features. Now, on this particular model, there is no navigation, but not to worry, because honestly, you can still use navigations through Apple CarPlay or Android Auto with Google Maps or whatever your favorite.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please?
Apparently Mercedes thought I was talking to her, but kind of an interesting little thing there, but that's okay. I guess I said the wrong thing. But like I said, you can use Google Maps or whatever your favorite program is for navigation without a problem. So one of the things to consider as you're driving down the road, but honestly, not having navigation is helpful in the way of saving you a little money on what you end up spending on your 2021 GLA 250. So just something to consider, but something I didn't mention in the last video. Now, if you want to see how augmented reality works, I do have another video where I do a full tutorial on how that works. Very quick video. It's a little over 3 minutes, I believe. But today, obviously, we're focused on the GLA 250, and we're going to take a little ride through my favorite test drive road here. We're cruising around and getting through these corners. Now, obviously, this is not meant to be a high-performance vehicle, but I do like to give you a good idea of the handling, as opposed to just telling you about it. I'm doing the speed limit through here, a little bit above, accelerating through the corner there. That's not the sharpest corner. And of course, as we cruise towards that corner, what about the driving experience, the ride quality? It's not bad on pretty much every road surface I've been on. You know, it's not a real large SUV, a little bit shorter wheelbase. And if you don't know what the wheelbase is, that means the center of the front tire to the center of the rear tire. So it's going to have a little bit of a stiff ride, but it's not bad at all. I've noticed a few little bumps here and there, but honestly, it's really not bad. Okay, guys. I was just about to tell you about the handling characteristics of the GLA 250 through a rather sharp corner, driving at about 65 miles an hour. And I have to say, I was very impressed. Unfortunately, the camera was not able to stay in position. I thought it had it mounted more solidly than I apparently did. So, as you can see, the camera fell over and I had to redo that scene. But we're going to go ahead and finish up our test drive here. I am going to use the shifter paddles here as I'm driving in sport mode. It does have dynamic select, so you can choose what settings different parts of the vehicle have, and it does make for a very nice driving experience depending on what you want to do. So let's downshift a little bit. You're not going to get super aggressive shifts or anything like that, but I will say that the shifter paddles are nice and responsive. A lot of vehicles I've driven that may not be considered high performance, and maybe even some that are, will kind of struggle to have a bit of a delay or have quick responsiveness, I should say, to the shifter paddles. So you pull it and then you just kind of wait for the transmission to shift. Yeah, not too bad. Actually, very impressive. The acceleration is pretty good for a smaller engine, the 2-liter 4-cylinder that is in this particular model. Not producing a ton of horsepower, but still, I must say I'm impressed. So overall, the handling characteristics, the ride quality, you've got a lot of great technology here. Obviously, with the MBUX system, you've got really the latest and greatest right now that you can get. It's a very nice, user-friendly system. And as I showed you earlier, or as you heard earlier, I should say, you have a lot of different commands you can ask, whether it's how much gas mileage you have left, how you feel, if you're cool, if you're hot. You can tell Mercedes about that and she'll lower that. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the test drive. Tell me what you think. And if you want to see the full video where I did a full tour of the 2021 model of the GLA 250, I will link that down in the description of the video. And always let me know what you want to see me feature here on the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel. If it's something I can do, as I am still working my way to getting into more dealerships. But tell me what you want to see. It might give me a good reason to go to dealerships I haven't been to before and and say, hey, I had somebody request I make a review with one of the vehicles you have here. So that could be very beneficial. As always, I appreciate my friends here at Mercedes-Benz of Shreveport, not only for loaning me the 2021 GLA 250 for the day, but allowing me to use the incredible photo booth here. I really appreciate that. And of course, all of you for taking the time to watch. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.